NASA announced intentions to destroy the International Space Station, ISS, earlier this year after nearly 25 years of operation. In fewer than 10 years, the ISS will be intentionally destroyed. The International Space Station, which was launched in 1998, will splash down in an uninhabited ocean location. Okay, guys, welcome to TechStar. As we go on, please do well to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. With the assistance of the ISS, 5 separate space agencies from the US, Russia, Europe, Canada, and Japan have been able to collaborate and make a significant advancements in science. The many components of the ISS were built gradually by different countries, only coming into contact for the first time in space. As the largest man-made object in orbit, the enormous composite structure is now as long as a football field. It passes 400 kilometers above the surface of the Earth as it completes its 16 daily orbits, and it is visible to the naked eye from Earth. In the past 10 years, research conducted in the ISS microgravity environment has led to advancements in the production of vaccines, drugs, and medical therapies. The ISS also assists in the real-time monitoring of Earth's ecosystems and natural disasters. It is used to test upcoming spacecraft technologies and research the health impacts of prolonged spaceflight in preparation for potential human solar system exploration in the future. Although onboard research is progressing, NASA has observed infrastructure and component slowdown. Well, the ISS has been operational for 24 years, but its longevity isn't guaranteed. NASA is using impact prevention to gradually demolish the ISS so that it doesn't crash into the Earth like a massive asteroid, but instead splashes down in the ocean, where it is put to rest for good. The ISS experiences freezing on one side and scorching by solar radiation on the other for each orbit around the Earth. These thermal extremes cause the material to expand and contract cyclically, which wears it down. Space radiation chars the transparent glass on the solar cells, which are used to power the station, and repeated docking and undocking results in slow structural degeneration, which eventually results in the station's demise. Also, the rise of flying space debris creates an unexpected and catastrophic risk of devastation. A flyaway piece of paint shattered a window in 2016, and only last year, the crew of the International Space Station, ISS, was put on evacuation standby when Russia shot down a dead satellite with a missile, sending thousands of bits of debris hurtling past the station at a speed of 5 kilometers per second. However, according to NASA, there is high confidence the station will last until the end of 2030. Although NASA has promised to retain the station until 2030, its partner organizations have not yet formally agreed. Therefore, politics will play a larger role in the eventual decision to deorbit than engineering. A free-falling ISS poses significant risks if degradation or unforeseen damage happens before the official decommissioning. In fact, it wouldn't even be the first space station to crash to the ground. When NASA's Skylab station ran out of fuel in 1979, it erupted out of control and crashed, with pieces of the station ending up all across Australia. Even though nobody was hurt, this sparked changes and design for demise principles. For the engineering of satellites and other orbiting space infrastructure, the design for the demise principle is crucial. Freely falling objects from orbit must break up into minute pieces to avoid endangering people on the ground. We need specialized activities for deorbit since the ISS is too big to adhere to the design for demise philosophy. The worst-case scenario, according to experts, might be comparable to a 9/11 incident if it crashed down uncontrollably in a major city. However, this is highly improbable. Newly constructed modules will initially separate from the main structure and remain in orbit as part of the ISS's planned, controlled deorbit procedure. These modules will later reunite as a component of future space stations. The ISS will then slowly slow down using its inbuilt thrusters, lowering its orbital altitude over the next few months. The remaining descent will be faster, but it will be guided by several spacecraft that have been launched to connect to and direct the structure as it starts to fall toward Earth. The majority of the structure will burn off when it re-enters the atmosphere, but the remaining mass should continue on a predetermined course to its final resting place in the deep oceans. The same method was previously used to successfully bring down a Russian space station, but because the ISS is around 4 times bigger, this operation has not yet been tried. The International Space Station will first go through a transition phase before fully deorbiting in 2031 to maintain the vital scientific research being done at the moment and provide the groundwork for future space enterprises. Recently, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin revealed intentions to replace the ISS with its own independently run space station. Northrop Grumman and Axiom Space partnered with SpaceX, which has a contract to begin building modules off of the current ISS as early as 2024, and are 2 more important stakeholders. There are also proposals for a Russian space station, which is probably going to be made up of ISS detached modules. In the meantime, China launched the first module of its own Tiangong space station last year and intends to finish building it out in the coming months. Currently, NASA and its partner agencies oversee the use of their jointly owned infrastructure and are consulted on operations due to their governing expertise. However, as technology advances, NASA now buys seats on SpaceX-owned rockets. In the end, NASA will be treated like any other client of business entities. This change is already in the works at NASA. NASA has encouraged private businesses like Elon Musk's SpaceX and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin to create a ship capable of destroying the International Space Station, like a wrecking ball in a recent document titled Capacity to Deorbit the International Space Station. The International Space Station was not built to be simply dismantled in space. The wrecking ball vehicle will dock with the ISS when it is almost 220 kilometers from Earth's orbit, as per NASA's plan. The ISS will then be driven in an elliptical orbit 50 kilometers or less from Earth's atmosphere, using as much of the planet's natural drag as possible, at which time it will begin to burn up owing to the friction of the atmosphere. The objective of the mission, according to NASA, is to safely re-enter the space station's structure into an area of the ocean that is uninhabited. NASA anticipates that some space station components may hit the ground. The agency has previously taken it into consideration, indicating that the impact would be negligible. The wrecking ball will drop into the ocean beside the ISS while still docked to it, ending the station's nearly 3 decades of uninterrupted service. The retirement is being marketed by NASA as a transfer of operations to commercial services, reinforcing its focus on assisting public-private initiatives in Earth's orbit. The Point Nemo area is a popular place for nations to sink their space debris, with countries having dropped more than 263 pieces there since 1971. NASA and its partners have evaluated varying quantities of Russian Progress spacecraft and determined that 3 can accomplish the deorbit. NASA may also make use of Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft to help. It's a bittersweet moment. Long before the station is shut down, NASA still intends to send astronauts to the Moon. The agency wants to use the ISS as an analog for a Mars transit mission, which is stated under a deep space exploration aim through 2030 in the transition plan. The multinational approach to space study and exploration may be on the decrease, and it will be the tragic conclusion of one of the largest international scientific collaborations ever attempted. And like I said earlier, China and Russia each want to build their own space stations in the coming decades. China is hoping to have its station completely functioning by the end of the year and has already dispatched people to occupy the first modules in orbit. For the time being, scientists will keep working tirelessly on board the ailing orbital outpost while sporadically patching the actual fractures appearing in the station's walls. Okay, guys, this concludes today's video. Please do well to give this video a thumbs up if you found it interesting. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Techstar. Bye for now.